The victim was shot in 221B. But the gun was found in Watson's hand. Chapter 1. The Bloody Morning. The fog was thick. It wrapped around Baker Street like a wet gray blanket. Sherlock Holmes sat by the window. He smoked his pipe. Dr. Watson was at his desk. He wrote in his journal. It was early. Too early for most people, but not for them. A knock came at the door. It was not a soft knock. It was hard. It was fast. Mrs. Hudson, their landlady, cried out. Her voice was full of fear. Holmes stood up. His eyes were sharp. Watson put his pen down. He felt a cold dread. This knock was bad news. Always. They ran to the door. Mrs. Hudson pointed. Her hand shook. Mr. Holmes! Dr. Watson! There's a man, she cried. In your room. Holmes pushed past her. Watson followed close behind. The door to their sitting room was open a crack. A strange smell hung in the air. Iron. Blood. Holmes pushed the door wider. What they saw made Watson gasp. A man lay on the floor. He was a big man, well dressed. His clothes were good, too good for a common visitor. A dark stain spread on his white shirt, a bullet hole, right in the chest. He was very still, too still, dead. His eyes were open. They stared at the ceiling. A look of surprise was on his face. This man was a stranger. Holmes had never seen him before. Watson had never seen him either. Holmes walked closer. He did not touch the body. His eyes moved fast. They saw everything. The room was not messy. Nothing was broken. No signs of a fight. Just the dead man and a pool of dark red. Watson felt sick. He was a doctor. He had seen death. Many times. But not like this. Not in their room. In 221B, Baker Street. Their home. He looked around. His eyes went to the small table. Holmes kept his revolver there. For cases. For danger. Watson's heart jumped. The table was empty. No gun. Panic began to rise in him. Where was it? Who was this man? And why here? Holmes bent low. He looked at the man's pockets. No wallet, no papers, nothing to say who he was. A careful killer, Holmes said. His voice was calm. Too calm. Watson looked at Holmes. Holmes's face was grim. But why here, Holmes? Who is he? And how did he get in? Watson asked. His voice was shaky. Holmes stood up. He walked to the window. He looked out at the fog. Then he turned. He looked at Watson. His eyes were not calm now. They were hard. Cold. That is the puzzle, Watson, Holmes said. A very deep puzzle. Watson looked down. He saw something. Under the desk, near his chair, a dark shape. He bent down. His fingers touched cold metal. It was a gun. Small, black, and heavy. He pulled it out. It was Holmes's revolver, the one from the table. Watson held it in his hand. He looked at the gun. Then he looked at the dead man. Then he looked at Holmes. Holmes's eyes were fixed on the gun in Watson's hand. The fog outside seemed to get thicker. The silence in the room was terrible. Chapter 2. The Impossible Gun. Watson dropped the gun. It made a loud clatter on the wooden floor. His hand shook. "Holmes, what is this? Why was it? Why was it by my chair?" Watson asked. His voice was a whisper. Holmes did not answer at first. He just stared at the gun. Then he looked at Watson's face. His eyes were still cold. "Watson," Holmes said slowly, "that is my service revolver." Watson knew it. He had seen it many times. He had even used it once or twice. But why now? Why there? "Yes, Holmes, I know. But how did it get there? And this man? He was shot with it." Watson felt a wave of confusion and fear, a terrible fear. Holmes walked to the gun. He did not touch it. He looked at the floor around it. "There is no doubt, Watson. This man was shot in this room. And this gun." Holmes paused. He looked at the bullet wound on the dead man, then back at the gun. "This gun is the weapon." Watson felt his stomach drop. But I didn't." He could not finish the sentence. The thought was too big, too terrible. Holmes looked at the door. "Mrs. Hudson?" he called. His voice was sharp. Mrs. Hudson came to the door again. Her face was pale. "Yes? Mr. Holmes?" she asked. "Did anyone else come in? Last night? This morning?" Holmes asked. "No, sir. Only you two. And me." "No one else," she said. She looked very sure. "The door was locked. I always lock it at night." Holmes nodded slowly. He looked at the dead man again. "So? A locked room. A stranger. Shot with my gun. A gun found by Dr. Watson's chair." He said the facts out loud. Each word was heavy. "This case is not simple, Watson. It is very dark." Watson paced the room. His mind raced. He tried to think. Who would do this? Who would frame him? Frame them both? "Holmes, this is madness. Someone is trying to put us in a bad light," Watson cried. "Or worse, they are trying to frame one of us." Holmes looked at Watson. His eyes were serious. "Yes, Watson, or worse." Holmes picked up his magnifying glass. He moved around the room. He looked at the floorboards. He looked at the walls. He looked at the ceiling. He looked at the furniture. He did not find much. No forced entry. No strange dust. No dropped items. It was too clean, too perfect for a violent act. Then he stopped by the window. He pushed it open a little. The fog swirled in. He looked at the window latch. He murmured. "Intact." Watson looked at the gun again. It lay on the floor. Black. Silent. A cold, hard fact. He could feel the weight of it, even from a distance. The gun in his hand. The dead man in their room. The puzzle was truly impossible. Holmes closed the window. He turned to Watson. "Watson, we have a problem. A big one." Chapter 3. The Inspector's Accusation. The sound of heavy boots on the stairs broke the silence. One man, then two, then many. Mrs. Hudson returned. Her face was still white. "Mr. Holmes," she whispered, "it is the police. Inspector Lestrade is here." Holmes nodded. "Let him in, Mrs. Hudson. We were expecting him." Watson felt his heart beat faster. Lestrade. He was a small, fast man from Scotland Yard. He was not clever like Holmes, but he was loud, and he was very sure of himself. Lestrade entered the room. He did not say hello. He wore a heavy coat. His face was red from the cold fog. 2 police officers stood behind him. Their blue uniforms were dark in the dim light of the room. Lestrade saw the body on the floor. He did not look surprised. He just looked angry. "Holmes," he said. His voice was sharp. "What is this?" "A dead man. In your rooms. This is a new problem. Even for you." Holmes stood by the fireplace. He watched Lestrade. He was calm. "Good morning, Inspector. You see the problem. A man. Shot. In my sitting room." Lestrade walked around the body. He looked at the bullet hole. He looked at the man's expensive clothes. He sniffed. "Yes. I see it. And I see this." He pointed to the gun on the floor. "The gun near Watson's chair. That is your revolver, is it not, Holmes?" Holmes nodded. "It is." Lestrade looked at Watson. His eyes were small and sharp, like a rat's eyes. "And Dr. Watson, you are standing very close to it. Why is that?" Watson felt the blood drain from his face. I found it there, Inspector. It was on the floor, by my desk." Lestrade laughed. It was not a nice laugh. "You found it? How convenient, Doctor. A dead man appears. A gun appears. And you just find it." Watson stepped forward. He was angry now. "Are you accusing me, Lestrade? I am a doctor. I save lives. I do not take them." Lestrade smiled. It was a cold smile. "I accuse no one, Doctor. I just look at the facts. Fact 1. A man is dead." He pointed at the body. "Fact 2. The weapon is here." He pointed at the gun. "Fact 3. The room was locked. Mrs. Hudson says no one else came in." He looked at Mrs. Hudson. She nodded, her eyes wide with fear. "That's right, sir. Locked all night." Lestrade turned back to Watson. His smile was gone. "So, a locked room, a dead man, and you, Dr. Watson, and Mr. Holmes. It seems very simple to me." Holmes stepped away from the fireplace. "You are wrong, Lestrade. It is not simple. It is very complex." Lestrade rolled his eyes. "Oh, here we go. The great Sherlock Holmes. He will tell us about complexity. The man is dead. The gun is there. It is simple murder." Holmes ignored him. He knelt by the body. He did not touch it. He only looked. His eyes were like knives. Sharp, cutting. "Look here, Lestrade. If you can." Lestrade bent down. He looked annoyed. "What am I looking at, Holmes? A dead man?" Holmes pointed to the bullet wound. "The angle, Lestrade. The angle of the shot." Watson looked too. He was a doctor. He understood wounds. Holmes was right. The bullet entered the chest. But it went down, sharply down. "He was shot from above," Watson said. His voice was quiet. Holmes nodded. "Correct, Watson. The killer was not standing in front of him. The killer was high up, perhaps standing on a chair. Or perhaps..." Holmes looked up. He looked at the ceiling. Lestrade stood up. He rubbed his face. "On the ceiling? Don't be mad, Holmes. You are trying to confuse me, trying to protect your friend." "I am protecting no one," Holmes said. His voice was cold. I am protecting the truth. This man was shot, but not by Dr. Watson, and not by me. Look at the facts you missed. Holmes pointed to the window. The window is locked from the inside. He pointed to the chimney. The chimney is too small for a man. He pointed to the door, and the door was locked. So, how did the killer get in? And how did the killer get out? Lestrade had no answer. He was angry. He looked at the gun. He looked at Watson. I don't care about your impossible puzzles, Holmes. I have a dead body, and I have a suspect. He pointed at Watson. Dr. Watson, you will come with me to Scotland Yard. Watson felt a wave of cold. Go with Lestrade? To the police station? That is absurd. I am innocent. Holmes held up a hand. He will not go, Lestrade. He will, Lestrade said. Or I will arrest him. Right now. Holmes sighed. Lestrade, you are a fool. You want to arrest a doctor, a hero, because it is easy. You do not want to solve the crime. You just want to close the case. Holmes walked to his desk. He picked up a small piece of paper. While you were shouting, I was looking. This man, he has no wallet, no identification. But he has this. He held up the paper. It was a train ticket. A ticket from Reading. He arrived this morning. At 6 a.m. Lestrade looked at the ticket. So? He came from Reading. Yes, Holmes said. But look at this. Holmes pointed to a small dark stain on the man's left shoe. It was mud. This mud is not London mud, Lestrade. It is red. It is clay. It is the mud from the brickyards near Reading. Lestrade looked confused. Brickyards? What does this mean? It means, Holmes said, this man did not come to London to visit. He came to Baker Street for a reason. He was followed, or he was meeting someone who knew he was coming. Holmes looked at Watson, then at Lestrade. You take the body, Inspector. Take it to the morgue. Find out who he is. I will find out who killed him. Lestrade hesitated. He did not like this. He wanted to arrest Watson. But Holmes had given him something, a new lead. Fine, Holmes. Fine. Have it your way. I will take the body. My men will search this room. Every inch. He pointed a finger at Watson. But I am warning you, Doctor. Do not leave London. Do not even leave Baker Street. I will be watching you. You are my only suspect, and I will prove it. The police officers lifted the body. They carried it out. The room felt suddenly empty and very cold. Lestrade gave one last, hard look. Then he was gone. Chapter 4. The shadow of guilt. The room was silent. The heavy footsteps of the police faded away. Only one officer remained. He stood outside the door. A guard. Lestrade's man. Watson sat down heavily in his chair. The chair near the spot where the gun was found. He put his head in his hands. The silence in the room was heavy. It pressed down on him. The smell of blood and fog was still in the air. A dark red stain was on the carpet. The stain of the dead man. Watson felt sick. He was a prisoner in his own home. Holmes, Watson said. His voice was tired. He thinks I did it. Lestrade truly thinks I killed that man. Holmes stood at the window. He watched the gray street below. He did not turn around. "Lestrade is an idiot," Holmes said. His voice was flat. "He sees only what is in front of his face. He cannot see the larger game." "Game?" Watson stood up. He was angry again. "This is not a game, Holmes. My life is on the line. My reputation. I am a doctor. Who will trust a doctor accused of murder?" "Calm yourself, Watson," Holmes said. He finally turned. His eyes were bright. That strange electric light was in them. The light he got when a case was difficult. "This is not about you. It is about him." Holmes pointed to the bloodstain. "Who was he? Why did he come here? Why was he killed in our room? And why was the gun placed by your chair?" Holmes began to pace the room, back and forth, like a tiger in a cage. "The frame is obvious, Watson. Too obvious. Someone wants Lestrade to arrest you. They want us to be busy with the police. Why?" Watson shook his head. "I don't know, Holmes. I don't know anything." "Think, man. Think. Who do we know? Who is clever enough to do this? Who hates us?" Holmes stopped pacing. He looked at Watson. "Moriarty," Watson whispered. The name felt cold. Professor Moriarty. The spider. The dark mind. At the center of London's crime. Holmes shook his head. "No. Not Moriarty. This is not his style. His work is clean, invisible. This is loud. This is angry. This is personal." Holmes knelt on the floor again. By the bloodstain. He pulled out his magnifying glass. The police had searched. But Holmes looked. He looked at the wood fibers of the floor. He looked at the edges of the stain. Lestrade's men are clumsy. They missed it. "Missed what, Holmes?" Watson knelt beside him. Holmes pointed. It was tiny. A small, gray fiber, caught on a splinter of the wood floor. It was not from the victim's coat. It was not from Holmes. It was not from Watson. "A woman's dress," Holmes said. He carefully picked up the fiber with tweezers. He placed it in a small glass tube. "A very expensive gray silk dress." "A woman?" Watson was shocked. "You think a woman did this? A woman shot him? From above?" "It is possible," Holmes said. "Or she was here. She saw it. She was part of it." He stood up. The mud from Reading. The train ticket. The expensive clothes. The gray silk fiber. And the angle of the shot. He put his fingers together. "The picture is forming, Watson. It is dark, but it is forming." The door opened. Mrs. Hudson entered. She carried a tray with tea. "I thought you might need this, gentlemen," she said. Her hand still shook. "And, Mr. Holmes, there is someone here to see you. A young woman. She is crying. She says it is life or death." Holmes's eyes lit up. "A woman? What does she look like?" "She is very rich, sir. You can tell. But her clothes are messy. And she is wearing a gray dress." Holmes and Watson looked at each other. The blood in Watson's veins turned to ice. "Show her in, Mrs. Hudson," Holmes said. His voice was now sharp, like a weapon. "Show her in immediately." Watson stood by the fireplace. He was not a suspect anymore. He was a target. And the killer, The killer was walking up the stairs. The fog outside the window seemed to get darker. The guard outside the door shifted his feet. He knew nothing. He was just a man. But the real danger was now coming inside. The real game was starting. Watson looked at the bloodstain. He looked at the door. He was afraid, but he was also ready. He was Sherlock Holmes's friend, and the fight had just begun. Chapter 5. The Woman in Gray. The door opened slowly. Mrs. Hudson stood back. A young woman stepped into the room. She was perhaps 25. She was beautiful, but she was not elegant. Not now. Her gray silk dress was wet from the fog. Her hair was messy. Her eyes were wide, very wide, and full of terror. She saw Holmes. She saw Watson. Then her eyes moved. They saw the dark red stain on the carpet. She made a small sound. A gasp. Her hand flew to her mouth. "No," she whispered. "Oh no, I am too late. He is already dead." She looked like she was going to faint. Watson, the doctor, moved forward. "Sit down, madam. You are pale. Let me get you some water." He helped her to a chair. Not his chair, the other chair. Saturday. She was shaking. Holmes watched her. He did not move. His eyes were hard. They missed nothing. "You are too late for what?" Holmes asked. His voice was not soft. It was sharp. The woman looked up. Tears were in her eyes. My brother. Lord Alistair." Watson stopped. "Lord Alistair? Was that the man?" "He came here," the woman cried. "He sent me a note. He said he was in terrible danger. He said he was coming to 221B Baker Street. He said only Mr. Holmes could help him." She began to sob, quietly. "I told him not to go. It was a trap. I knew it. But he did not listen. He is brave. Too brave." Holmes stepped closer. "Who are you, madam?" "I am Lady Eleanor, his sister." Holmes looked at the gray fiber in the glass tube. Then he looked at her gray silk dress. "You said you were too late. How did you know?" "How did you know?" I followed him," she said. She looked down. "I was worried. I took a cab. I waited outside. Across the street. In the fog. It was so thick. I could not see the door. I just waited. I waited for a long time. Then I heard a sound." "What sound?" Watson asked. "A small sound," she said. "Like a pop. Not loud. Like a champagne cork. But wrong. It was sharp. I was afraid. I stayed in the cab. I waited. And then what?" Holmes asked. "I saw someone. On the roof." Watson looked at Holmes. "The roof? It was just a shadow," Lady Eleanor said. "A dark shape, moving against the gray sky. It moved very fast. It went over the roof, towards the back, and then it was gone." "You saw nothing else?" Holmes asked. "No. I waited. I was so scared. I thought Alistair would come out. But he did not. So I waited. Finally, I saw the police. I saw them carry something out. A bag." She closed her eyes. "I knew it was him. I knew he was dead. So I came here. To ask you. to beg you. Who did this? Who killed my brother?" Holmes was silent. He looked at her. His eyes were like ice. "Lady Eleanor," he said. His voice was very quiet. "You are not telling me the truth." Lady Eleanor looked shocked. "What? I am. I swear it." "No," Holmes said. "You did not wait in the cab. You were in this room." He held up the glass tube, the small gray fiber. "This fiber matches your dress. It was on the floor, near the body, near the blood." Lady Eleanor's face turned white, whiter than the fog. I. You were here," Holmes said. "Tell me the truth." Now. The woman broke. The tears came. Not quiet tears, loud, painful sobs. Yes, I was here. I am sorry. I was afraid." "What did you see?" Holmes demanded. "I heard the pop sound. I got out of the cab. I ran to the door. It was unlocked, just a little. I pushed it. I came up the stairs. The flat door was open. I came in, and I saw him." She pointed at the bloodstain. He was on the floor, just like that, dead. His eyes were open. "Go on," Holmes said. "I heard a noise," she whispered. "From the bedroom. Your room, Dr. Watson. I heard someone sleeping, breathing. I was terrified. I thought the killer was still here. I ran out of the room. I ran down the stairs. I hid in the alley. I did not know what to do. Then the police came. I promise. That is the truth." Watson looked at Holmes. He believed her. Her fear was real. "Holmes, she is telling the truth. She was scared." Holmes nodded slowly. "Yes, she is. Which means the killer was gone before she arrived. But the gun, Watson, the gun." Holmes turned to Lady Eleanor. "My friend, Dr. Watson. The police think he did it. They found my gun in his hand." Lady Eleanor looked at Watson. Her eyes were wide. "No, not him. That is impossible." "Why?" Holmes asked. "Why is it impossible?" "Why is it impossible? Because my brother. He was afraid of someone else." "Who?" "He told me," he said. "If I am killed, it is the colonel. Find the colonel." "Colonel?" Watson asked. "What colonel?" "Colonel Sebastian Morin," she whispered. The name hung in the air, heavy, dark, dangerous. Holmes's face did not change, but his eyes burned. "Moran," he said. "Of course, the angle of the shot, the roof, it makes sense. It is all coming together." Watson was lost. "Holmes, what are you talking about? What angle? What roof? And what about my gun?" Holmes smiled, a cold, thin smile. "Patience, Watson. You have been accused of a crime. Now, you will help me solve it. Lady Eleanor, stay here. Do not move. Mrs. Hudson will stay with you." He turned to Watson. "Come, Watson. The game is afoot. We are going hunting. We are going to the roof." Chapter 6. The hole in the ceiling. Holmes moved with sudden, fast energy. He was like a machine. Watson felt the change. The dark mood was gone. The hunt was on. "Lestrade's guard is still outside the door," Watson whispered. "He will not let us leave." "He is a fool," Holmes said. "He is guarding the door. He is not guarding the window." Holmes went to the window. He looked down at the street. Baker Street was busy now. Carts, people, fog. "No, the window is too slow. We must go up." "Up?" Watson asked. "Holmes, we cannot just fly." "We do not need to fly, Watson. We need to go to the apartment above us. 221C. "But it is empty," Watson said. "Mrs. Hudson said it has been for rent for a month." "Exactly," Holmes said. "Empty, dark, quiet, the perfect place for a killer." Holmes walked to the door of their flat. He opened it. The police officer outside stood up. He looked surprised. "Where do you think you are going, Mr. Holmes?" "Inspector's orders. I am going to inspect 221C, Holmes said. "I believe the killer used that apartment." The officer laughed. "Nice try. The killer was in this room, and it was your friend, Dr. Watson. Now, go back inside." Holmes sighed. "You are making a mistake, Constable." "No, you are," the officer said. He pointed his finger. "Get back in the room, or I will arrest you too." Holmes smiled. It was not a nice smile. "Very well." Holmes stepped back. He closed the door. Watson looked at him. "Now what, Holmes?" "Now, we look at the evidence. The evidence Lestrade was too blind to see." Holmes looked up. He stared at the ceiling. "Lady Eleanor," Holmes said, "you said the shot was a pop, a small sound." "Yes," she said. She was calmer now, just pale, very small. "And I," Holmes said, "deduced the shot came from above, the angle of the wound." "Yes," Watson said. "But that is impossible. The ceiling is solid." "Is it?" Holmes asked. He went to the fireplace. He grabbed the long metal poker. "Watson, bring the lamp. Hold it high, very high." Watson held the lamp up. The flame made shadows dance. Holmes stood on a chair. He raised the poker. He tapped the ceiling. Tap. 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 Solid wood. Solid plaster. "Here," Holmes said. He moved the chair. He was now directly above the spot where Lord Alistair's body was found. He tapped the ceiling again. Tap. Tap. Thud. The sound was different. It was soft. Hollow. "Ah," Holmes said. He scraped the poker against the ceiling. A small piece of white plaster fell to the floor, and, underneath, a small, dark hole. "My God." "Holmes," Watson said. "A hole. Someone drilled a hole." "Precisely," Holmes said. He got down from the chair. "The killer was not in this room, Watson. He was in the room above. He waited. He drilled a hole. He aimed his weapon. And he fired. One shot. Down. But the gun?" Watson said. "My gun? In my hand?" "A distraction, Watson," Holmes said. His eyes were blazing. "A perfect, beautiful distraction. Think. Moran. Colonel Moran. He is the best shot in London. He can shoot a tiger between the eyes. Or he can shoot a man through a ceiling. He used a rifle. A special rifle. With a silencer. That is why the sound was a pop. Lord Alistair was shot from above, Watson said, thinking hard. Yes. And the killer, Moran, was in 221C. Yes. But who put the gun in my hand? Moran could not be in two places. Correct, Holmes said. Moran had an assistant. The assistant was in this building. Perhaps hiding. After the shot, after Lady Eleanor ran away, the assistant came into this room. How? Watson asked. Mrs. Hudson said the door was locked. The assistant had a key, Holmes said. A copy. They came in. They took my gun from the table. They wiped it. They put it in your hand, Watson. As you slept in your chair, you were tired. You did not wake up. Watson felt a cold chill. Someone was in the room while he slept. The assistant placed the gun. Holmes continued. Then they left. They locked the door from the outside. To create the locked room puzzle, they wanted Lestrade to find you, Watson, with the gun. They wanted you arrested, to stop me, to confuse me. This is diabolical, Lady Eleanor whispered. Yes, Holmes said. Now we must prove it. We must get into 221C. The police officer will not let us pass. So, we must be clever. Holmes looked at Mrs. Hudson. Mrs. Hudson, I need you to scream. Mrs. Hudson looked confused. Scream, sir? Yes. A loud scream. A scream of fire. In 30 seconds. Can you do that? Mrs. Hudson's eyes hardened. She understood. Yes, Mr. Holmes, I can. Good, Watson, Lady Eleanor. When she screams, we run. We run past the guard. We run up the stairs. He will be confused. He will not know what to do. Holmes looked at the door. He was ready. Watson, bring your own revolver. The real one. This time, the hunt is truly dangerous. Chapter 7. The Mark of Moran. Holmes counted to 10. He nodded at Mrs. Hudson. She took a deep breath. Then she screamed, Fire! Fire! Help me! 221. B is on fire. Her voice was loud. It was full of real panic. The police officer outside the door shouted, What? Fire? He turned his head. He looked down the stairs. He was confused. He did not know what to do. Now! Holmes shouted. He pulled the door open. He, Watson, and Lady Eleanor ran out. They pushed past the confused officer. Hey! The officer yelled. Stop! Come back! But they did not stop. They ran up the stairs, to the next floor, to the door of 221C. The officer ran after them. Stop! In the name of the law! Holmes ignored him. He reached the door of 221C. It was locked. Of course. Holmes pulled a small metal tool from his pocket. His lockpick. The officer grabbed his arm. I said, stop. Do not touch me, Holmes said. His voice was like a winter storm. Cold. Dangerous. The officer was surprised. He hesitated. In that 1 second, Holmes picked the lock. The lock clicked. Holmes pushed the door open. He stepped inside. Watson and Lady Eleanor followed. The police officer was right behind them. "I am arresting you, Holmes. You are all mad." The room was dark. It was very, very dark. The windows were covered with thick, black curtains. The air was stale. It smelled of old dust. And something else. A faint, bitter smell. Gunpowder. "Watson, your lamp," Holmes commanded. Watson, who had brought the lamp from their room, held it up. The light cut through the black. The room was empty. No furniture, no tables, no chairs. Just a thick layer of dust on the floor. It was a ghost room. "You see, Holmes?" the officer said. He was breathing hard. "Nothing. You are crazy. Be quiet," Holmes said. "You are noisy, and you are wrong. Look." Holmes walked to the center of the room. He walked to the spot directly above their sitting room. He held the lamp low. The dust on the floor was not clean. It was disturbed. There were 2 marks, 2 clear marks. "Footprints," Watson said. "No," Holmes said. "Not footprints. Look closer." Watson looked. The marks were small, round impressions. "The feet of a tripod," Holmes said. "A heavy brass tripod, to hold a rifle, to keep it perfectly still." Holmes moved the lamp. "And here," he pointed to the floor, "a small pile of white plaster dust, and in the center of the dust, a small dark hole, the hole he knew was there." "The killer's window," Holmes whispered. He knelt down. His eyes searched the floor. He was clean. Very clean. But not perfect. No one is perfect. He moved his fingers through the dust. "Ah! What is this?" He picked up something small, something metal. It was gold and red. "A rifle casing," Watson said. He was shocked. "He left it here." "Yes," Holmes said. "A special casing. For a special rifle. A hunting rifle. The kind used by Colonel Sebastian Moran. The best shot in England. The second most dangerous man in London." Lady Eleanor made a small sound. "Moran." "Yes, Lady Eleanor. Your brother was right to be afraid," Holmes said. He stood up. He held the casing. He looked at the police officer. "This is the man who killed Lord Alistair, not Dr. Watson, Colonel Moran." The officer looked at the hole. He looked at the casing. He was very confused. "But the gun in Dr. Watson's hand." "A trap!" A loud voice boomed from the doorway. Inspector Lestrade stood there. His face was purple with anger. "A trick, Holmes. You run from my guard. You break into a locked room. To plant this." He pointed at the casing in Holmes's hand. "You are trying to protect your friend." "I am trying to show you the truth, Lestrade," Holmes said. He was very calm. "But you are too blind to see it. You want to arrest an innocent doctor because it is easy. You do not want to hunt a real killer because it is hard. This is nonsense. A hole in the ceiling? A toy gun casing?" Lestrade said. "Inspector," Watson said. His voice was strong. He was not afraid now. "I am a doctor. I saw the body. The bullet wound. The angle was down, sharply down. The killer was above him. And my brother told me, Lady Eleanor cried. He told me to fear Colonel Moran. Lestrade looked at Lady Eleanor. He looked at the hole. He looked at the casing. He did not want to believe it. And the gun, Holmes? The gun in Watson's hand? Explain that. A distraction, Lestrade. A simple, clever distraction, Holmes said. Moran had an assistant, someone in this building, someone who had a key to our rooms. Perhaps they work for Mrs. Hudson. Perhaps they stole her key. Mrs. Hudson, who was now standing at the door, gasped. After Moran fired the shot, the assistant waited. They waited for Lady Eleanor to leave. They heard her run away. Then, they entered our flat, silently. They took my gun from the table. They put it in Dr. Watson's hand. He was asleep in his chair. He was very tired from a long night. The assistant was quiet. They placed the gun. Then they left. They locked the door. They created an impossible crime. A locked room, a dead man, and an obvious suspect. Lestrade was silent for a long time. He looked at the dust. He looked at the hole. He looked at the angry face of the police officer. He looked at the calm, cold face of Sherlock Holmes. Moran, Lestrade said. He hated the name. This is big. If it is true, it is true, Holmes said. And he is gone. Moran is not a fool. He is in the wind. He is on a boat to France by now. He did his job. He killed Lord Alistair. And he tried to frame my friend. He failed in one task. Lestrade nodded slowly. He was a policeman. He wanted justice. But he also wanted an easy life. This was not easy. Fine, Holmes. I will. Look into this. I will send my men. We will check the hole. We will check the casing. He looked at Watson. Dr. Watson, you are not under arrest. For now. He turned. Constable, come with me and send a telegraph to Dover. Tell them to look for Colonel Moran. Lestrade and his officer left. The room was quiet again. Lady Eleanor looked at Holmes. Her eyes were full of tears, but they were not sad tears. They were grateful. Mr. Holmes, you saved my friend. You found the truth. I found the facts, madam, Holmes said. The truth is what we build from them. He gave her the rifle casing. Give this to Lestrade. Do not let him lose it. They went back down, back to 221B. The bloodstain was still there, but the fear was gone. Lady Eleanor thanked them. She said she would go to the police station to make her statement. Then she left. Holmes and Watson were alone. Mrs. Hudson brought tea. She did not say anything. She just looked at them and smiled. Watson sat in his chair. The chair. It was a close thing, Holmes, Watson said. Lestrade almost had me. Holmes stood by the window. The fog was finally lifting. A little bit of weak, yellow sun came through. Do not worry, Watson, Holmes said. He sees, but he does not observe. You were never in real danger. I was not? Watson asked. No, Holmes said. He picked up his violin. Because I was here. And the game, my dear Watson, is always afoot. He began to play. A soft, slow song. The sound of a mystery solved. The sound of safety. The sound of Baker Street.